Confidence in trading doesn't come to you in a flash of brilliance. It arrives in a whisper, usually after the market has tried to break you. I learned that the first time I sat through a position that shook every ounce of certainty out of me. The tape was moving against me. The room felt smaller with every tick, and I kept asking myself the same question every trader eventually faces. Do you trust the plan you made, or do you trust your fear? Every profitable trader discovers this moment, and most fail it. Not because the market was too wild, but because their mind was too loud. You see, confidence isn't built on winning streaks. Winning streaks fool you. They pat you on the back and tell you you're brilliant. But confidence, real confidence, that comes from the days you want to abandon your own rules and don't. It comes from staying loyal to the plan when your emotions beg you to rewrite it. It comes from realizing that the market isn't testing your strategy. It's testing you. And until a trader understands that, he'll always be a passenger in his own decisions, never the one steering. When I look back at the moments that truly shaped me, they weren't the big wins or the famous trades people like to talk about. They were the moments when I sat alone with a position that felt uncomfortable, frightening even, but aligned perfectly with my rules. Those were the crucibles where confidence was forged. Not because the trade worked out, some of them didn't, but because I chose discipline over impulse. That's the psychology most traders miss. They think they're lacking skill, when in reality they're lacking trust in the work they already did. The market has a way of exposing every crack in your mindset. If you don't trust your plan, it will show immediately. If you don't trust your rules, the tape will drag you around like a leaf in a storm. Confidence is the anchor. It is the only thing that keeps you from being tossed back and forth by every candle. And the deeper truth is this: you can only anchor yourself to something you believe in. If you don't believe in your own plan, you will never last long enough for it to reward you. Most traders think they need more indicators, more setups, more strategies. No, what they need is conviction, a clarity so strong that when the market screams at them, their mind stays quiet. That kind of confidence doesn't come from theory, it comes from experience, discipline, and the willingness to sit in discomfort without breaking your own rules. When I finally understood this, everything changed. Not because the market changed, but because I did. The difference between a trader who survives and one who perishes is rarely skill. It's mindset. Every time I see someone abandon their plan after a single shake, I know they're doomed before they even place their next trade. The market doesn't need to do anything extraordinary. It simply waits for the unprepared mind to betray itself. And that betrayal is always subtle. It starts with a flicker of doubt, a whisper in the back of your head, a thought that maybe you should adjust just this once. That one adjustment, that one concession to fear, is where most traders lose more than money. They lose their own trust. And once trust is gone, confidence evaporates like water on hot pavement. No strategy, no indicator, no secret pattern can fill that void. I've learned to welcome the pressure, to treat it like a signal rather than a warning. When the market begins to shake my conviction, I feel it as proof that I'm standing at the threshold of growth. Every seasoned trader experiences this, the pit of fear that tests every ounce of mental fortitude, but not every trader survives it. You can hear it in their decisions: hesitation, overcorrection, a compulsion to fix the market instead of following the plan. These are the telltale signs of a mind still enslaved to emotion. The difference between them and the trader who thrives is the subtle, almost imperceptible ability to do nothing except honor the rules already set in place. Confidence, in its purest form, is stillness in the storm. It's ironic how often people chase confidence instead of cultivating it. They read the books, they watch the charts, they follow gurus who promise insight and clarity. But confidence isn't granted by watching someone else succeed. It's earned in the quiet moments when no one else is watching. When you're forced to stare at the tape, your account, and your own trembling hands, and say, I trust the plan I built. I trust the process. I trust myself. That is the invisible work, the part of trading nobody sees, yet it determines everything. Every large position I've held, every trade that changed my account materially, demanded that I silence every impulse and obey the rules I had already written. And I can tell you now, there is no shortcut. There is no formula. only discipline and a commitment to the plan, moment after moment, until fear loses its grip. Most traders underestimate the subtle tyranny of their own thoughts. The market will never betray you like your own mind can. The chart doesn't have an agenda. It doesn't whisper in your ear that you're failing. Your mind does. It spins stories about being wrong, or too early, or missing out. And every time you listen, you chip away at your confidence. I learned to recognize these moments immediately, the subtle tightening in my chest, the desire to touch the keyboard, to break my own rules, and to treat them as signals that I was about to grow. The more I resisted, the more confident I became. The market rewarded nothing but my patience, my clarity, and my refusal to give in to the chaos of my own thoughts. Confidence also requires humility. You cannot trust a plan if you think you're smarter than the market. Every seasoned trader knows this. The market doesn't care about ego. It doesn't bow to ambition. It moves as it will, indifferent to your desires or predictions. When I stopped trying to force outcomes, when I started respecting the limits of my knowledge and the reality of probabilities, something profound happened. My confidence shifted from fragile hope to steadfast conviction. I could sit through positions that would have tormented me before and feel nothing but clarity. Not arrogance, not certainty in outcome, but certainty in the logic and discipline I had applied. That certainty is what allows a trader to survive the merciless swings that kill those who rely solely on gut feeling. There is a rhythm to confidence, one that few acknowledge. It grows incrementally, through repeated adherence to rules, through surviving discomfort without acting on impulse, and through embracing every challenge as a test of loyalty to the plan. I often tell new traders that the market isn't teaching them about money, it's teaching them about themselves. And the lesson is simple but brutal. Trust your plan, or be prepared to pay the price. Every tick, every candlestick, every minor loss is a mirror. Look into it long enough, and it will show you whether you have faith in yourself or only in the illusion of control. Those who survive the reflection gain strength. Those who flinch dissolve under pressure, mistaking temporary fear for reality. I remember trades that tested me in ways no prophet ever could. Nights when the market moved against me, and every instinct screamed to bail, yet the plan told me to stay. Every time I honored that plan, I built a quiet kind of confidence that couldn't be shaken by headlines, rumors, or even catastrophic moves. That is the difference between a trader who succeeds over decades and one who survives for months before disappearing into obscurity. It's not about winning more trades, it's about being steady when the stakes feel unbearable. It's about listening to the plan and ignoring the storm inside your own mind. Confidence is the calm that arrives after the market has done everything it can to break you. And here is the most crucial truth. Confidence is never static. It doesn't exist as a permanent state of mind. It's alive, growing with every disciplined choice, and fading with every concession to fear. The trader who believes he is always confident is already vulnerable, because he confuses ego with true mastery. True confidence is flexible. It is tested, challenged, and reaffirmed constantly. It is forged in the moments when you could abandon the plan, when fear feels overwhelming, when every signal screams to act against your own rules and you don't. That is the crucible of mastery. That is the essence of what separates the men who control their destiny in trading from those who are controlled by it. Once you understand that confidence is forged under pressure, the next realization hits hard. It isn't about avoiding mistakes, it's about how you respond when they happen. Every trader will fail at some point. Every trader will sit through a position that seems to mock them, where every tick feels like it's testing your sanity. The market doesn't care about your mistakes, but your mind does. That's why the difference between temporary setbacks and permanent ruin is psychological, not technical. When I made my first serious losses, it wasn't the money that wounded me most, it was the betrayal of my own judgment. I had abandoned my rules once, and the market made me pay. That sting became the foundation for the confidence I eventually built, because I learned the only way forward was through self-trust, not wishful thinking. Experience teaches you that the market's voice is relentless. It doesn't whisper politely when you're struggling, it screams, it taunts, it challenges every decision. And the truly dangerous part is that your own mind does the same, often louder. You will question every entry, every stop, every risk allocation. You will imagine scenarios, conjure doubts, and tell yourself that your plan is flawed. Most traders act on these fears instead of observing them. They chase the market, tighten stops prematurely, or abandon positions at the slightest discomfort. That behavior is fatal. The market will continue without them, indifferent to their panic. Confidence is the ability to observe the fear, acknowledge it, and move forward anyway. It's the muscle that grows only when you repeatedly choose discipline over instinct. I often say that trading is 90% psychological. The numbers, the charts, the setups, they matter, but only when your mind allows them to matter. I've seen brilliant strategies fail because the trader didn't trust himself. I've seen mediocre strategies succeed because the trader executed without hesitation, guided solely by his rules. Your plan is only as strong as your commitment to it. And commitment, real commitment, is invisible to the world. No one applauds you for following your rules in private. No one rewards you for resisting the temptation to meddle. But inside, that is where confidence lives. It accumulates quietly, compounding with every disciplined choice, every moment of restraint, every instance where you put the plan above impulse. There's another subtle layer most traders miss. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is the courage to act despite fear. I've never met a trader who didn't feel it. The difference is what they do with it. Early in my career, I would sometimes freeze in moments of uncertainty, paralyzed by the prospect of being wrong. I lost opportunities that could have been monumental, not because the market moved against me, but because I moved against myself first. Eventually, I realized that hesitation is far more costly than failure. Losing a trade is temporary. Losing faith in your own decisions is permanent. Confidence, therefore, is not just a skill, it is survival. The market also teaches patience in ways that no textbook can convey. The temptation to act, to force a move, to correct the tape, is relentless. I have sat through entire sessions where my hands itched to press the keys, but my mind reminded me that the plan demanded nothing but stillness. Every second of waiting was a test of faith, a crucible where confidence could either strengthen or fracture. And when the market eventually aligned with my rules, the reward was not just profit, it was reinforcement of trust in myself. That reinforcement, repeated countless times, becomes unshakable. It is the quiet momentum that carries a trader through storms, far more powerful than any strategy ever could. One of the greatest illusions traders face is the idea that confidence is born from results. It isn't. Results are fleeting. They are an echo of discipline, not its source. Confidence is cultivated in the process, the repeated adherence to rules, the repeated resistance to impulses, the repeated choice to follow the plan in moments when your emotions scream for deviation. That is the real test, and it is brutal. The market doesn't slow down for you to feel ready. It doesn't give warnings before it challenges you. Every tick is immediate, impartial, and indifferent. And so your confidence must be immediate, impartial, and unwavering as well. There is a dangerous trap I've seen countless traders fall into. Overconfidence disguised as skill. They win a few trades, the market aligns with them, and suddenly they believe themselves infallible. That is the moment disaster often begins. Confidence and arrogance are not the same. Arrogance is an untested belief in your own genius. Confidence is the tested faith in your own process. One relies on outcomes to feel justified. The other relies on preparation and discipline. The market punishes arrogance swiftly, often cruelly. It rewards confidence slowly, subtly, and without fanfare. That is why patience is indispensable. Patience not just in the trade, but in the growth of your own psychology. I have seen traders crumble under the weight of their own minds more often than under any market crash. The human brain is a predator in the guise of a friend. It invents stories, exaggerates fear, minimizes logic. Every profitable trader must learn to become a silent observer of their own thoughts, noticing when fear attempts to hijack decisions. That observation is not passive, it requires strength. Strength to pause, to breathe, to reaffirm the plan, to ignore the screams of what if inside the head. This practice, repeated day after day, builds a kind of mental armor that no loss, no sudden reversal, No volatility spike can penetrate. That is the secret behind enduring success. And yet, even the most seasoned traders are tested continually. There is no point at which confidence becomes permanent. It is a living, breathing quality that must be fed by repeated proof of self-trust. Each trade, each session, each test of the plan reinforces it or weakens it. That is why journaling, reflection, and honest evaluation are crucial. They are the mirrors that show you whether you are loyal to your rules or betraying yourself. Traders who skip these steps may prosper temporarily, but they are building their confidence on sand, not rock. Temporary victories cannot substitute for tested faith in your own decisions. Perhaps the most difficult lesson of all is learning to accept that losses are inevitable, but self-betrayal is optional. Every trader loses. Every trader experiences fear, doubt, and uncertainty. But only those who maintain discipline, who honor the plan, who resist the temptation to meddle, and preserve the foundation of confidence. Every moment of adherence is a brick in the fortress that will protect you in crises. Every moment of capitulation is a crack that will widen under pressure. The choice is simple, but the execution is challenging, and that is why so few traders truly master themselves. By the time a trader begins to understand these lessons, the real work begins, mastering patience under pressure. It's one thing to follow a plan when the market behaves nicely. Any fool can feel confident when everything goes as expected. But true confidence is forged in the chaos, in the moments when the market moves against you, when every instinct screams to abandon the plan. I have sat through trades that threatened to ruin me, trades that would have broken lesser minds. And yet, when I chose discipline over impulse, I discovered something profound. The market will ultimately reward clarity, loyalty, and courage. It may take hours, days, or weeks, but the trader who stands firm begins to see patterns not in the market, but in himself. He sees what he can control and what he cannot. That understanding is the foundation of lasting confidence. Every tick, every minor loss, every temporary victory is a test. They are not signs of genius or failure, they are mirrors. And most traders avoid the reflection, terrified of what they might see. I learned early that self-awareness is the secret weapon no one talks about. You cannot control the market. You cannot control volatility, rumor, or sudden shifts. But you can control your reactions. You can control whether you adhere to your rules or surrender to your impulses. That control is where confidence lives. That control is what separates those who survive from those who vanish, lost to the noise and chaos of their own minds. The temptation to interfere with your plan is relentless. I've felt it countless times. The whisper that says, move the stop, close a little early, adjust the entry. Each whisper is a test of loyalty to the plan, to your process, to yourself. Most traders fail that test repeatedly without realizing it. They cheat their own rules in small ways, believing it will protect them. But the market punishes inconsistency. Each deviation chips away at the foundation of confidence. The lesson is cruel, yet simple. To trust the plan fully, you must resist the instinct to meddle. You must learn to watch, wait, and act only when your rules command it. And every time you succeed, every time you resist, your confidence grows, almost imperceptibly, until one day it becomes unshakable. Experience teaches that fear will always appear first, before clarity. Doubt comes before certainty. Anxiety comes before calm. Every profitable trade I have taken has followed that rhythm. First, the tension, the uncertainty, the itch to act on impulse. Then, if I held steady, the moment arrives when the plan proves itself. Confidence is the bridge between those two states, the willingness to endure the fear long enough to reach clarity. And the more you practice that endurance, the more natural it becomes. You begin to anticipate fear, to welcome it as a sign that your plan is being tested, not threatened. It transforms from an enemy into a signal, a marker of growth. There is a subtle artistry in the way the confident trader moves. He does not rush. He does not flinch. He does not seek validation from outcomes. Every action is deliberate, measured, and disciplined. I have seen traders with mediocre strategies outperform the brilliant because they were able to maintain composure when others panicked. It is not the genius of prediction that wins, it is the mastery of oneself. And that mastery is invisible to the world. It is earned in silence, in discomfort, in moments when no one is watching and every voice in your head is telling you to act irrationally. That is where confidence resides, and that is why so few truly achieve it. The market is indifferent. It does not reward emotion. It does not punish emotion. It simply moves, as it will. And the trader who survives must learn to move with it, not against it, guided by rules rather than feelings. That is the essence of trusting your plan. Understanding that your preparation, your discipline, and your judgment are more reliable than your fear. Every profitable trade I have taken has been a testament to that principle. Not because I was fearless, but because I trusted myself more than my fear. That trust is the invisible hand guiding every successful decision. One of the hardest lessons is learning to accept temporary losses without surrendering confidence. The market will punish impatience. It will punish ego. It will punish overreaction. Yet it will also reward the trader who remains steady, who acts according to rules rather than emotions. I've watched positions that seemed doomed eventually turn into substantial gains simply because I resisted the urge to abandon the plan. That is the paradox of trading. The market tests you harshly, yet rewards patience with precision. Confidence is the currency you earn when you honor that paradox, consistently and without compromise. Even the most disciplined trader is tested repeatedly. There is no point at which fear ceases to exist. There is no moment when the market no longer challenges your judgment. Confidence is not a state, it is a practice. Every day, every session, every trade is another opportunity to prove to yourself that you are loyal to your process, that your rules are stronger than your impulses, that your plan is worth trusting. And over time, those repeated proofs accumulate, building a resilience that no market movement can shake. That is the difference between a trader who merely survives and one who thrives over decades. Finally, the most subtle aspect of confidence is humility. The trader who thinks he is invincible is already on the path to ruin. True confidence is quiet, measured, and self-aware. It acknowledges risk, accepts uncertainty, and respects the market's power. It does not boast about past wins or fear future losses. It simply exists in the ability to act correctly, even when the world screams for deviation. That quiet, tested, disciplined faith in one's own process is the final layer of mastery. And it is what separates the traders who endure from those who vanish into obscurity, chasing illusions of certainty instead of cultivating true, unshakable confidence. By the time a trader truly understands confidence, he realizes that it is inseparable from self-discipline. The market does not reward cleverness, intuition, or even insight. It rewards consistency, obedience, and loyalty to one's own rules. I have seen traders with brilliant predictions crumble simply because they lacked the courage to follow the plan through the pressure. Confidence is not an abstract concept. It is the tangible result of repeated, disciplined action in the face of doubt, fear, and uncertainty. And once a trader internalizes that, everything else becomes secondary. Profit, loss, fear, excitement, all are subordinate to the power of trusting oneself. There will be days when the market seems cruel, when nothing goes according to plan, when every candle feels like a personal attack. Those are the days that define a trader. The difference between those who survive and those who fail is measured in seconds. The split second, when the mind decides to act on impulse or honor the plan. I have lost more money to impatience than to volatility. I have ruined positions not because the market was unfair, but because I betrayed my own rules. And every betrayal left a scar, a lesson, and ultimately, a deeper understanding of what true confidence means. It is not the absence of mistakes. It is the unwavering loyalty to your process despite them. You see, the market is a mirror of your own psyche. It does not invent challenges, it amplifies the ones already inside you. If you lack patience, it will test your patience. If you lack discipline, it will punish your impulses. If you lack trust in your plan, it will exploit your hesitation. And yet, if you meet the market with steadiness, if you act in accordance with your rules, If you silence the noise inside your head, you will find clarity. That clarity is the essence of confidence. That clarity allows you to see opportunities where others see chaos, to move decisively when others flinch, and to stand firm when the tide threatens to sweep you away. Every profitable trader I know has faced moments that would break a lesser mind. Nights of fear, days of uncertainty, trades that seem destined to fail. And yet, what separates the survivor from the victim is always the same: the ability to remain loyal to the plan, to trust oneself when no one else would, to act with patience when panic calls for motion. Confidence grows in these crucibles. It is tempered in the fires of doubt and polished by repeated proof of self-trust. That is the invisible work, the unseen mastery that allows a trader to endure, to grow, and ultimately, to succeed. Do not mistake confidence for arrogance. It is not a loud proclamation, nor a reckless disregard for risk. It is quiet, deliberate, measured, and self-aware. It acknowledges danger, accepts uncertainty, and remains steadfast. It is the calm in the storm, the anchor in the torrent, the hand that presses the order with certainty even when fear rages. And here lies the final lesson. The market will test you endlessly, but if you can build unshakable trust in yourself, if you can follow your plan through doubt and discomfort, nothing outside of you can control your outcome. That is power. That is freedom. That is mastery. The truth is simple, yet few truly grasp it. The market does not create confidence, you do. Every disciplined action, every resisted impulse, every loyal adherence to the plan is a brick in the fortress of self-trust. And once that fortress is built, it becomes unassailable. Losses no longer terrify, volatility no longer paralyzes, and fear no longer dictates action. Confidence is no longer fragile. It is formidable. It is the quiet certainty that when the market moves against you, you will respond correctly, guided not by emotion, but by logic, experience, and tested rules. I have seen traders transform before my eyes, from panicked novices into calm, precise operators of their own destiny. The transformation begins when they accept that fear is inevitable, doubt is constant, and losses are part of the game. They realize that the only thing truly under their control is their own mind. And when they surrender to that principle, something extraordinary happens. The plan becomes a trusted ally, the market becomes a proving ground, and confidence becomes a living, breathing force inside them. It is quiet, relentless, and unstoppable. And finally, the greatest reward of all is not the money, the status, or the fleeting triumphs. It is self-mastery. To sit through a trade that could terrify an amateur and feel calm. To execute a plan flawlessly while the world outside screams for distraction. To know without question that your decisions come from discipline, logic, and loyalty to yourself. That is the pinnacle of trading. That is what every trader seeks, though few achieve. And once you reach it, you realize that confidence is not a destination, it is a journey, endlessly renewed with every decision, every trade, every heartbeat that honors your plan above your fear. So I leave this with you. The market will challenge you, tempt you, frighten you, and push you to your limits. But the trader who survives, the trader who thrives, the trader who becomes a master is the one who trusts his plan when fear screams, who acts with discipline when doubt rages, and who builds confidence not from outcomes, but from loyalty to himself. That is the silent war that defines every great trader. That is the psychology of confidence. That is the truth that will carry you through every storm and elevate you above the chaos, finally allowing you to trade not with fear, but with certainty, clarity, and freedom. So here's what I want you to do next. Take a moment after this video, open your trading journal, and ask yourself, do I truly trust my plan? Identify where fear has caused you to deviate, and commit to following your rules without compromise. And if you found value in this video, don't just watch, like, share, and subscribe to the channel so we can continue bringing you insights that go beyond indicators and strategies. Finally, comment below with your biggest struggle in trusting your plan, or the moment you realized fear was holding you back. I read every comment, and this community grows stronger when we learn from each other. Remember, the market will always test you, but your confidence, built through discipline, patience, and self-trust, is what will make you unstoppable. Take that step today.